Yo. Welcome in, man. Today is October the 5th. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. Today we have on the board for the two-team previews, we got the Detroit Pistons, and we also have a look at the Sacramento Kings, kind of diving into these teams. We're going to do just that, man, make it a short video just to kind of give a quick recap and talk about what we expect what I expect from these teams in the upcoming season. Remember, I always say, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. When the NBA season starts, and maybe even in some of the preseason action, you'll be firing off a couple plays if we can get some information on the teams who's going to be playing. So let's do it. Just a quick reminder, 2 teams per day. Like I said, today's the 5th. It's Saturday, Pistons and Kings. Tomorrow we'll go Pacers, we'll go Blazers. And then Monday, we got a spicy one with the Suns and the Miami Heat as well. Always enjoy diving into these teams. So let's get right into it. First team up, we got the Detroit Pistons. This was a team last season that's coming off worst season in franchise history. 14-68 straight up, 40-41 and 1 against the number though. So they were almost profitable, at the tail end of things. They sustained a 28-game losing streak, which was the worst and longest in NBA history. The way you could make money betting the Detroit Pistons last season was as road dogs getting 10 points or more. I vividly remember doing this a couple times and just wanted to bring that trend to light. They were 15-11 against the number last season. That's 57%. Actually, the second best ATS percentage, as right behind the San Antonio Spurs and the Washington Wizards, who played at least 15 games in that situation of being a road dog of 15 points or more. So Pistons were, profitable team in that angle. Of course, they were the laughing stock of the NBA, especially when they were going through that losing streak. And a lot of it had to do with, Monty Williams being the coach. He kind of put Jaden Ivey in the doghouse early. And, just really didn't believe in his skill set, wasn't really attached with him from a relational perspective. Like they weren't, on the same page. And then you had Cade Cunningham, who missed another 20 games after missing 70 games the season before. So, after drafting him, number 1 pick, it's been, not the best injury health throughout the first couple seasons. 90 total games missed through the first 2 seasons. You also had Jalen Duren, who was a stud. Jalen Duren's going to be really, really good, especially with his ability to be able to rebound the basketball. He'll continue to grow and develop, but he's already probably a top 5 rebounder in the NBA. He also missed 21 games last season. So what do they do, to start a new chapter in Detroit this season? Complete turnover compared to, last season, in my opinion. You replace Coach Monty Williams. They bit that $65 million hit that they still owed him, and got rid of him and bring in Coach JB Bickerstaff, who was let go of by the Cleveland Cavaliers. You also replaced the GM. So it's a lot of moves. They kind of clean house from the top to the bottom. You also bring in some veteran players to add to this team that had 11 guys on the team that was 25 years or younger last season. I think that's going to help them out a lot. And you guys can see it on the left side. You go out, you get Malik Beasley, who comes over from the the Milwaukee Bucks. Tim Hardaway Jr. comes over from the Dallas Mavericks. Tobias Harris, who, now he doesn't have a lot of expectations on him playing in Philly anymore. Goes back to Detroit for his second stint and probably plays a lot better this season. I'm thinking that Tobias, out of the spotlight, Tobias probably plays a lot better. You also get Paul Reed. He comes over from Philadelphia. Wendell Moore Jr. And then they also re-signed Cade Cunningham, and they still got Simone Fontecchio, pretty good 3-point shooter. So I'm thinking that the spacing is going to be really good. I don't know how many wins it's going to result in, and I'll get to that in just a second. But I'm thinking the spacing is going to be a lot better if this team can stay healthy. They also, I don't think I put it here, but they also went out and got a nice young guard. I forgot what his name is, but he was the 5th overall pick. I think he's going to be pretty good for them as well this season. Thought I had his name written down in my notes, but I guess I didn't. But they don't lose a lot. You lose Taj Gibson, Quentin Grimes, James Wiseman, and Buddy Bohan. But I think this team got a lot better. The regular season win total also kind of indicates that. Of course, the books are not going to put their win total at 16.5. Like it won't be just 2 wins. That was a historically poor season last year. So you see their win total at 25.5. I think the Pistons could get there. I want to do some more digging, just because I feel like I haven't gotten through every single team yet. But the Pistons are definitely going to be a lot better than last season, in my opinion. If they can stay healthy. I put the strength of schedule at the bottom right, bottom left, so you guys can see that as well. 14th easiest, or you could say the 16th most difficult. They're 13 games with the rest advantage, and then 10 games without the rest advantage. The 15 back-to-backs are the second most of any team, but this is a pretty young team, man. I just think that, like I said, when you got Cade Cunningham, hopefully he stays healthy. You got a shooter like Malik Beasley, who can't really guard anybody, but Tim Hardaway Jr., another great shooter. Simone Fontecchio, another great shooter. Tobias Harris, somebody that can get busy in the mid-range. I think this team is going to win a few games. Catching them as dogs in a few spots is going to be profitable, I do believe, this season. As far as championship odds and to win the Central Division, that's a joke. 100,000 to 1 for them to win the chip, that's not going to happen. To win the Central Division, what is that? 50 to 1 as well. Yeah, I don't think those things are going to happen at all. 500 to 1. I don't think those things are going to happen at all. This team hasn't won 23 games since the 2018 season, but I do think that they go up and, probably go up and over the 25.5. Like I said, don't have it in my pocket. The best odds are on BetMGM, as you guys can see. But those are my thoughts on the Detroit Pistons this season. Next up, we got the Sacramento Kings. This is a team that, won 47 and 30, 47 and 37 straight up last season. 43-41 against the number. They were a surprising 46-36-2 to the under. Their 47 wins were 4 less than they had in the 2022 season, which was Mike Brown's first season, where they, really kind of blew the expectations out of water. And he ended up winning Coach of the Year as well. They ultimately missed the playoffs last season, losing in the play-in tournament to the shorthanded New Orleans Pelicans. While they were also a bit shorthanded as well. Remember, Malik Monk wasn't a part of that series. Kevin Huerter was also had already had the shoulder surgery as well. You had a really good season from De'Aaron Fox. He averaged a career season for him, a little over 26.5 points, over 5.5 assists, almost a tad bit under 5 rebounds per game. And then Sabonis was all NBA for the second time while leading the league in rebounding as well. Keegan Murray took a big step forward with his ability to be able to shoot the 3-point ball. But their inconsistencies were on the defensive end at the beginning of the season last year, and that really set them back a lot. If you remember during the ChrisBeCappinn Show, we talked about Coach Mike Brown just kind of eating into his team after the game because they were giving up so many points. So I went back and looked at it. They actually allowed 118 points per game before the All-Star break, which was in the bottom 10. In comparison, when they went down Kevin Huerter, you could say that, some of the defensive inconsistencies was on him. But when Kevin Huerter went down, when Malik Monk went down, they had to start relying on their defense to kind of stay in games. And in comparison, after the All-Star break, they allowed just 108 points per game, which actually top 10 defense. So interesting switch there. It's interesting to see which team we get this season. As far as, acquisitions, they do go out. They get DeMar DeRozan. They get Jalen McDaniels, who I'm pretty high on, specifically from a defensive standpoint. Jordan McLaughlin comes over from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Orlando Brown, he's hurt right now, but I think he helps defensively, especially, as far as size at the center position. They draft Devin Carter, who's also injured right now to start the season as well. You lose Harrison Barnes, who, was on his way out the door anyway, and he's a little bit older now. Chris Duarte leaves, Davion Mitchell leaves, Kessler Walker, who I was pretty big on last season, but offensively still hadn't really gotten it together, but defensively he was good. And Sasha Vesenkov also went to the Toronto Raptors. So strength of schedule, you guys can see 11th most difficult schedule. They're one of 6 teams that have a league high, 16 back-to-back this season. Rest disadvantage and rest advantage are both at 11 games, so kind of evens everything out there. I do think, looking at this team, man, you add DeMar DeRozan, so you bring in some clutchness to go in with De'Aaron Fox, who won Clutch Player of the Year 2 years ago, and some mid-range shooting, because we know the Kings shoot a lot of threes. So I think that helps a lot, but I don't know how much it helps their defense. Like I said, adding Jalen McDaniels, I think, helps their defense a lot, but DeMar DeRozan is 35. he's not going to go out there and play a bunch of defense, in my opinion. Kevin Huerter was also a big disappointment last season. He went from averaging 15.2 points per game to just 10.2 points per game before he did end up, not playing anymore after March, and he had ended up having that surgery on his shoulder. So you see the odds on the left-hand side, 7,500 for them to win the championship. Best odds available on DraftKings. For them to win the Pacific Division, they're plus 300 right now, which I don't know, man. I kind of feel like the Kings are going to be good this season. I kind of feel like they'll take a step back in the right direction after, under exceeding expectations last year. They didn't catch anybody by storm, last year. And like I said, a big part of that I kind of felt like had to do with the injuries after having a really good year the year before. So I think at 46.5 projected wins, one less than they, one more than they had last season. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like I said, I haven't dove into all the other teams, so I don't want to, bet it too early. But there will be a couple future bets that I will put in. But coming off the season with 46, where they won 46 games last season, if they can stay healthy, I think they'll give themselves a chance to, to compete in the West. The West, however, in my opinion, is going to be even tougher. I mean, every season it feels like the West is going to be tougher. But I think, even the teams that didn't win last season, the outside of the Portland Trailblazers, the San Antonio Spurs, I think are going to be a little bit better. The Memphis Grizzlies, we know, are not projected to win 27 games again this season. The Utah Jazz, I think if they want to be competitive, they can win more than 31 games this season. And then the Houston Rockets are also projected to continue to ascend. So we'll see how it goes. It's a very stacked Western Conference, so I'm going to be very diligent with, placing the bets on win totals for the Western Conference. I think the 46.5 is about it seems appropriate, but with the right health last season, especially Malik Monk specifically, I think this team wins 50 games, and they fell short by 4 games last season. So we'll see how it goes for them. I didn't bet anything within either one of these teams yet. Remember, we just kind of go back to the schedule. We got about 3 days. I got about 3 days after, the preseason, after we get done with all of the team previews, the 16th, 17th, and 18th. I'll be done with all the teams. And then I'll go back and kind of look and see what makes the most sense based on what the odds are. I'm not playing a lot of futures, but we'll see how it goes. Resources that I use, I always like to shout these out. OddsJam is on here, 20% off your first month using referral code CBC. Same thing for Moneyballer, 50% off over there using code ChrisBeCappinn with 2 P's and 2 N's. If you're new to betting, NBA sports, NBA specifically, last season we did finish up 40 units, and actually, if I'm being quite honest, it was disappointing. I thought it would have been a lot more, but we'll see how it goes this season. The season before that was a lot more profitable, but we'll see how it goes this season. Definitely check out these resources if you guys are interested. And if you made it this far, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. I'm gonna continue to do these, season previews. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said in the comments. Maybe you are a Sacramento Kings fan or a Detroit Pistons fan, or maybe you don't like either one of these teams and you're not as optimistic as I am on either one of them. But let me know in the comment section how you feel about these teams. If you're new to the, to the ChrisBeCappinn community, hit that like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel, all of those things. And best of luck on all your action, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.